Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is another fun crossover from Hyundai. This is the 2024 Hyundai Kona Limited all-wheel drive. And we did get to sample this for a little bit of a speed date about 2 months ago in Charleston, South Carolina. But for the past week, I've been driving this tennis ball yellow one around to see how it fits into our daily life. And I've got a little more insight for you. Stay tuned. I am so very grateful that the team over at Hyundai Motors get me. Not only do they produce vehicles in bright colors like this HTRAC yellow seen here on our limited tester, but they actually ship them to me and allow me to test them in these bright colors. And for that, I am eternally grateful. But while we are up front here, let's talk about what is under this brightly painted hood up front, because we do have a gasoline powered version. They do make these in all electric, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Underneath the hood of our loaded limited model is Hyundai's 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. This is essentially the same engine that was in the outgoing Kona, though it has been detuned by 5 horsepower to make up for all the added weight and to improve the fuel economy just a bit. So, official power numbers: 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and using in our all-wheel drive model, Hyundai's HTRAC all-wheel drive. Now, this is very favorable when compared to competitors like the Crosstrek, which Hyundai called out specifically to us when they were presenting this to us in South Carolina. And I can tell you, as somebody who has tested both the Crosstrek and this Kona here on our home turf, this is definitely the way I would go. I really like the 8-speed automatic transmission in this. It is virtually seamless, and it just works a little bit better than that Lineartronic CVT. Another strong competitor to this would be the Chevy Trailblazer. And you know I'm a bow tie guy, but the world's best, or the nation's best, warranty on this Hyundai definitely makes it appealing to me. Check out the full details to that down in the video description below. As I close the hood, the design very much mimics some of the brand's Ioniq electric vehicles, which I guess is a perfect segue into speaking about the electric variant of this vehicle. While we have a gas-powered all-wheel drive version, the electric version, well, that is limited to front-wheel drive only. And our model stickers for just under 36 as this one sits, again, fully loaded with all-wheel drive. A front-wheel drive only limited starts at $41,000, so you will pay a premium for the electric powertrain. And being that this is built in Korea, the only way to take advantage of the 7,500 point of sale or time of signing benefit from the US government is to lease one of the electric vehicles. So this really is a fairly good alternative to that fully electric version. I will say the fuel economy rating on this one from the EPA is 24 city, 29 combined, or 29 highway, 26 combined. Sorry for that misspeak. And I will also say that this was designed first and foremost to be an electric vehicle, with the gas variant coming in second to the design, and hence the very Ioniq-like look both inside and out of this. We'll talk more as we get to the inside, but this very, very much mimics some of the brand's Ioniq line of vehicles, and this nose seems ripped straight off of the Ioniq 7 concept we saw in LA in 2021, I want to say. Feels like it's been forever ago. As we come down here, we do get active grille shutters. I'll go ahead and come in and show you. These actually open and close based on the cooling needs of the engine back behind them. So they close for more aerodynamic efficiency, and they open up to feed more air into that 1.6 liter engine. You can see we've got the radiator back there. Otherwise, we've got some stylized elements here that are meant to look like they are air ducts or feeding air into various or around various areas of this vehicle. It's a nice look. I would say that I really prefer the look of the inline model that we drove while we were in Charleston a little bit better than this Limited, which is even more apparent as we come around to the side here. This HTRAC yellow, I don't believe is available on the inline, so you can't get the inline's body colored fenders in this color unless you get that or the front wheel drive only electric version. Just something to note. I will say here, the headlights, turn signals, everything is LED up front here, which is really nice, but they are divorced from the running lights that run up there. They are a little low, and it makes me wonder how well all the big pickup trucks around East Texas here have actually been able to see these turn signals as we turn them on. This running light up front, I've got all the headlights turned on right now, but in normal driving fashion, it is actually split. The entire width of this running light isn't actually lit up. It actually lights up like two little headlights with that center section turned off. It's an interesting look. It fools most passersby into thinking that those are the headlights, when in fact they are not. As we come around to the side here, you can see this is a much larger vehicle than the one it replaces. This rides on a shared platform with the Kia Seltos that we tested right when we got back from Charleston, South Carolina, driving these while we were in South Carolina. So it was very nice to get a side-by-side or back-to-back comparison of them. I can say I really like this Hyundai version. It feels more modern, more up-to-date than the offerings from Kia, and that definitely applies to what's on the inside. We will come down here to the 19-inch wheels of our Limited model. I really like the design. Hyundai is taking risks not only on vehicle design but on wheel design, and these five lug, arm, 5-star pattern wheels really stand out and look very nice. They are wrapped in 235/45 R19-inch rubber. These are Kumho Majesty Solus tires. We've seen them on many other products from Hyundai in this class. And then, of course, we've got that gray plastic cladding all the way around the wheel arches and running all the way down. You can see we do get a little bit of the body color in there, and this thing just absolutely glows when there's any sunlight anywhere around this paint color. As we come out to the side, you can actually see there are some very sharp chiseled lines that fit in with the bigger Tucson in the Hyundai family of vehicles. So while we had a very rounded nose and a very rounded tail in this, we get some very sharp angular body lines here on the doors that just give this a little bit more of an attitude than if it were just kind of slab-sided. Another big design cue of the Kona is this body line that runs all the way underneath the windows, comes up to form the rear spoiler into that third brake light back here. It's just a really nice little fun look on the Kona. I really like just these small details Hyundai designers have been able to sneak into their vehicles over the years. It is just fun and unique, not like many other vehicles on the road. And I have definitely been turning heads as I've been driving this around town, not only because of the color, though that is generally what people see first, but the overall unique shape of this vehicle. As we come around to the back of the vehicle, you can see, much like the headlights up front, we get a full width LED running light across the back, and then divorced brake lights and tail lights, turn signals, everything down low on the back side. Again, very similar to what we see up front, and all that does flow into the wheel arches on this one, those gray wheel arches on the sides. But generally a very nice look. We get that kind of satin gray and satin black finish on all those lower body cladding parts. So in typical SUV fashion. You know, you do get the black lower cladding, but this is more of a satin finish. It definitely looks more premium than something you would see on, say, well, that Subaru Crosstrek I referenced earlier. A very nice badging on the back of this one. You see we do get that HTRAC all-wheel drive badge and very nice brushed metal Kona badging back here. I can't show you because I do have the vehicle on accessory mode right now, but this does have Hyundai's active key rear tailgate, so that you don't have to come and like kick underneath the tailgate trying to get the rear hatch to open. If you've got the vehicle locked and not running an accessory and you walk up to it and stand back here, it'll give you 3 beeps and then the power hatch will open. And when it does open, we actually get more room in here than the model it replaces, and some very nifty features along the way. So official numbers from Hyundai, 25.5 cubic feet of storage space as you see it right here. And if you fold the back seats down, up to 63.7 cubic feet of space with those 60-40 split bench rear seats. We do get a hard parcel shelf in the back of this, but as I showed you while in South Carolina, you can obviously detach it from the window, nothing special there. But as we pivot it up, you can see we're kind of on hinges, but if I give it a nice little tug on both sides, it comes out of place very easily. And then let's see how well I can do this one-handed. Engineers and designers at Hyundai put in a special latch or resting place for it down here, down low, and it uses those same hinges down low to actually ride in a stored position right here. So you don't have to take this out and leave it and then not have it when you need it. For a hard parcel shelf, I like this. There are a few downsides. Obviously, you can see it takes up a little bit of our cargo space. We still have a little bit of room here from these seats because these seats do recline, so you've still got to leave room for the reclining seats. I'll talk more about that when we get inside. But it does allow you to carry this with you still and not have to leave it behind. Another interesting bit of storage here in this one, not over here on the passenger side, but on the driver's side, you get a little hard plastic cubby right here that you can drop a few items. And then we do have a false load floor down here with a spare tire underneath, all your equipment for changing that spare. And in typical Hyundai fashion, you can pull this panel out. You can see it drops down just a little and you can slide it back and you gain about a couple of inches here of additional height, which gets rid of this flush load-in that many SUV buyers really like. But as you can see here, it is actually 3 panels and it ramps up to the back seat as you get to the back seat. So if you did have those back seats folded, you would at least have a nice transition from this lower floor to the seat back. Again, if you had it in the upper position, not only do you get that flush load in, load out over the back of the hatch, but you get a flush look with those seats if they're folded down in the back. As we come to me, you can see just how much this hatch opens. I'm 5'10", gives us just about 6 feet of opening. It does give you a little bit of covering if it's raining outside. And I can say in our 1963 garage, it has plenty of clearance so that we aren't worried about hitting things up above. But I do believe this is a programmable hatch, and yeah. And the button to open and close it is right there. Before we hop in this one, I did want to show you the key. Can't say that it's your typical Hyundai key as of yet, but the brand is definitely going to this Hyundai logo inspired key. I'm going to go ahead and show you. If you can't already see the similarity, there you go. There's your Hyundai logo, there's your key. I don't know about this one, guys. It feels like they traded up to a much bigger, bulkier key. It feels like there's a lot of wasted space inside this plastic housing. You can see it kind of gets scratched up. It's not my favorite. It's cute, it's cool, it's different. I don't know though that I really like this change when you could just give me something a little sleeker and easier to slide into a purse or a pocket. But it is a proximity key. It's got a lot of fun stuff on it. Lock, unlock, remote start, your horn button, and smart park. So we're gonna go ahead, lock it, hold the button to start it up, and show you this smart parking. So you can see right now the wheels are turned, but as I push the button to move it forward, the vehicle sorts everything out, straightens the wheels, and you can move this up to a full parking spot in difference. This worked very well for us last night as we went out to eat. The people in front of us moved as we had just gotten out of the vehicle, and I was able to pull the vehicle forward without even getting into it. Other areas where this might come in handy are if you had someone park just a little bit too close to you, you're able to get the vehicle out and get in it a whole lot easier. But fairly nice option here to have that smart park here on the key. You can move it forward and backwards. I did mention it is a proximity key with unlock here on the front doors, or sorry, that is lock. Unlock is on the back side, and then you can see nothing on the back door. So if I want to get in, just grab the door handle and open it up. One thing that Hyundai does really well is because I have now remote started it, if I were to get in it with the key in my pocket, I don't have to push the engine start button or the vehicle start button on the dash anymore. It's like, okay, the vehicle's running, you're in here with the key, no need to go any further. I really like that touch. It just removes an unnecessary, unneeded step. We'll take a look at the doors before we move inside. You can see we get express up, down on the front windows, not express on the rear windows. A little bit of an oversight, but again, this is an entry-level vehicle for the brand. They do offer the, oh gosh, what is their little Kia Soul variant there? They do have one SUV down below this in size, but this really is their mass market SUV as you get around to it. We do have a little storage down here in the door. You can see cup holder, just a little bit of extra storage there. As we come around to the driver's seat, drivers get multi-positional front seats with two-way lumbar, which is a nice touch. The passenger seat is all manual, which I guess, again, is okay in this kind of entry-level class. These are H-Tex simulated leather or leatherette seats, which is fine. The material is very nice, and these are heated and ventilated front seats. Another distraction or demerit for the inline, I guess I would say, is while the inline is very similarly priced, you lose a lot of luxuries on the inside, like ventilated front seats. You don't get that on the inline. So if you really like the luxuries, go for the limited. These are very nicely bolstered as well. They really hug you in and hold you tightly as you get into it. The vehicle did turn off because I stood here with the door open just a little bit too long, but I just wanted to call out some of the unique features of that remote start. The fuel door does open from a little lever here. I'll go ahead and show you that we do still use a fuel cap on this. Again, many competitors are going to capless fuel filler systems, but just wanted to show that and call it out. But let's go ahead and hop inside and look at some of the other comparisons to the other Ioniq models in Hyundai's lineup and some various other Hyundai products. We'll start over my left knee. You can see we have our brightness control, traction control, and hill descent control, because again, we are in what Hyundai considers an SUV. You also get your hatch open button right here and your electronic parking brake. Up above, much like the Ioniq 5, we get this magnetic panel right here. So if you've got some fun, cute little magnets you could put right here, you can go watch our Ioniq 5 video and see exactly what we had in place there. And speaking of Ioniq models, the steering wheel on this is ripped straight out of an Ioniq. We've got this Morse code H here on the steering wheel, no actual Hyundai logo. So it's very interesting that Hyundai gives you their logo on the key fob, but not on the steering wheel, where most automakers give you their logo. Why don't we go ahead, put our foot on the brake and push the engine start button. You can see it come to life. One very nice touch, one thing that this has over the Kia Seltos that we tested earlier this year is dual 12.3 inch screens. The Kia Seltos still has to make do with dual 10.25 inch, so you get a much nicer, more robust area of screen real estate in here. However, I can say we didn't get to experience too much of this while we were in South Carolina. Like I said, that was more of a speed date. Living with the updated technology here in the screens, they've got a new design for practically everything on both of these screens. I can say that I'm not the biggest fan. I'll go ahead and mention this does have a Qi wireless charger, but a wired USB-C, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto for right now. Hyundai did promise that they are bringing wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to these vehicles in over-the-air updates. They really had to fight hard with leadership, but they did get that approved. And while we are talking about over-the-air updates, I can see there are a few that the brand needs to make to their new software in this vehicle right here. We'll start with the gauge cluster over here. There are two different options for this gauge cluster, all of which can be controlled over here on the infotainment screen. But I'm going to go ahead and go into cluster. We could go into theme selection, and you can see we have classic and simple. Classic gives you these analog look gauges, which is really nice, but if you really like having a digital readout, like say here in the center, you're not going to find it no matter how far you scroll on the wheel here or push your menu buttons here on the steering wheel either. It just doesn't exist. So if you want a digital speed readout, you're gonna have to go over here to the simple readout, which is nice. I like it enough. It feels very Ford F-150 Lightning to me. You can see these rings light up as you go faster or rev the engine a little bit more. I'll go ahead and give you a little rev there. But just a little too minimalistic for me in my taste. But you can sound off down in the comments below. I can see that is just a small update where you can add a digital readout of the speed here, but you can see we do have traffic sign recognition, not only speed limit signs, not only stop signs, but also like curve signs and warnings such as that. Another issue that we have experienced here that needs some over-the-air updates is this screen right here. We were using Apple CarPlay last night using Apple Maps, and anytime we would put the vehicle in reverse, naturally, go ahead and show you, it turns on the 360 cameras in this, but as we went back to drive, you can see here it goes to our forward cameras, but as we were driving around town, the screen went blank, like black blank, and nothing was on it, which was slightly unfortunate because then I had to go into some of the hard buttons here just to get CarPlay back up here. It was just an annoying little bug that I'm sure they can fix with over-the-air updates. Some other things that I've noticed that did not notice in South Carolina, using the built-in navigation in this one, I've got some video, again, from last night using it. It's not the best. It's kind of a clunky, too minimalistic layout. It doesn't give you a lot of information. It was not my favorite. Again, we ended up using Apple CarPlay last night. Also, too, you can see we've got some music here playing on Sirius XM, channel 79, Holly, not sponsored in any way, but I can't tell you what song is playing. I can't tell you what the artist is, unless I know the album art here. I can click on that. That takes me to this screen. And again, I still have no idea what the song name is, what the artist name is. They've just completely kind of washed that out from general information. To get to that, I had to click down here, and now in this screen and this screen only do I get that information. And you can see, even though we've got a lot of wasted space here, I've got this very limited, small scrolling display down here for the song name. Very interesting choice. I just feel like they went a little too minimalistic here on the new software design for the Hyundai systems. We will start seeing this in all Hyundai vehicles rolling out moving forward. So this is not simply unique to this Kona. This will be in all new 2024 and up Hyundai models as they update the tech in them. I will say this does come with their BlueLink Plus, all their connected suite of services, which is really nice. And also Hyundai CarPlay, where you can pay for parking and tolls and stuff from the vehicle itself. We haven't gotten to experience that, but I know that was something that rolled out with this new software. You can see a few other design changes here. I did mention we do have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And we do have a Qi wireless charger here that does a good job of charging our phones while in use. And once we get that wireless CarPlay in here, I think this will be a really nice system. But you can see I've plugged my phone in now. We've got CarPlay up. And yeah, I'm going to be going to get some cookies here later, but you can see very quick, very snappy, everything you would expect from a modern infotainment screen. I really like all this down here. Everything forward facing to me as the driver feels like it was ripped out of the Ioniq 5 or 6. This feels straight out of the Ioniq 6. I like how we still get physical buttons for shortcuts for all of the infotainment stuff. You still get a volume knob, a tuning knob, and then your climate control down here. We do have dual zone climate control, which is a nice touch and is becoming more of the standard here in this size class. Really like that a lot. And then the gear selector is down here, much like the Ioniq 5 and 6. Unlike the 5 and more like the 6, it is a flat kind of rectangular instead of rounded unit. But you can see, put it in drive, put it in reverse. Again, putting it in reverse does trigger the 360 cameras. And get a nice view out the back with trajectory, both in the bird's eye and in the rear view. And then you can do this 3D vehicle version where you can pan around and see all the way around it. One nice little touch, watch the wheels as I start to roll. You can see they roll as well. Just a fun, nice little touch. I have not found, like on the Genesis products, we tested the Genesis GV60, where you can change the color of the vehicle in the software. I haven't found that in this one, though I'm sure it could be added if they wanted to. But again, you can go into all your settings right there. Put it in drive. That gives you the option of a full front-facing camera, or you can just kind of pan through all your different camera modes there as well. Coming down here, again, 2 USB-Cs, which is nice. You do get a rear seatbelt monitor light right there. I like how this is not gloss black material. It's kind of a metallic looking plastic. It is a nice, very premium plastic. We also get this textured metallic look up here. Very nice use of materials in this vehicle, I will say. Rubberized pad right here for the Qi wireless charging, though everything on the other side is not rubberized. So if you put change in here, which I don't really recommend doing with this Qi wireless charger, it's going to rattle around. Moving down here, we get a lot of buttons, and I just noticed, yeah, the screen went black. So again, I was in reverse, and now my screen is black. You can see, oh, there, it's back on. Gremlins, I tell you, gremlins. Anyway, moving back down here, heated and ventilated front seats with 3-level on both, 2-level heated steering wheel, auto brake hold, a quick access parking button for the parking camera, heated and ventilated passenger seat, your parking sensor button here, and then we get multiple different drive modes. That does change the layout of the design of the gauge cluster. So you can see here, sport mode. I really like the checkered flag look that looks like apexes on a racetrack. And then we can go back into normal or go into snow, which looks like normal. So sport mode is really the coolest looking, if you ask me. Something that Holly especially thought would be a problem when we drove this in South Carolina, turns out is exactly what we thought it would be. The open storage in here is nice, but you can see It's hard plastic, and if you put something in here, it's going to slide around, it's going to rattle. You get a lot of room in here when the cup holders are not deployed, but you can see this just can rattle and slide all the way around. You can push that button right there, which opens a cup holder that gives you a little gripper here that holds smaller things here in place. So I can tell you that's not going to roll around now that we've got the cup holder in place. And then we've got some open storage back here. This little bit is removable. So again, you can have all of this open. It's slightly annoying. All your stuff is on display. You do get just a little tray right here that you can hide some stuff in, but that too is removable. And then see, there you go. There's your center console. Everything in there. We have some storage up here as well, but hard plastic, and it's like hollow back behind here, so it's going to echo and rattle on you. I wouldn't recommend putting anything like change or anything that'll rattle, because it's just going to echo and reverberate through the entire cabin. Fairly decent sized glove box here. It is not damped. Well, it is a little. It's got a little bit of weight in there. It is damped, but it is not lined with felt. I already showed you the storage in the doors. I already showed you the seats, but I'll come around here to me. Very nice headroom in this one. They paid a lot of attention to increasing the cargo and people capacity of this vehicle. That really pays off behind me, both in the second row and in that cargo area. But plenty of cargo room in here, plenty of people room. And even with our single panel large sunroof in this one, I still get plenty of headroom. I will say, even though it is a standard sunroof, it's not a panoramic sunroof, I will say, we still get this roller shade opening and the Hyundai dual level switch. So you have to be very careful just how much you pull back on the switch, because it's also what you pull back on to open the glass itself. I would hate for you to open that when it's raining or when you're in a car wash and just want to see out, but accidentally open the whole thing. So something to be aware of. Last thing before we climb in the back seat, we do have a tilt and telescoping steering wheel in this one that is very nice, and a couple little notches here for you to grab and hold it in different places. It's a very nice steering wheel. I like it a lot. But let's go ahead and move back to the back seat and see what it's like sitting back behind myself at 5'10". As we approach the back doors, again, these do not have that passive entry on them, but you can unlock them from the front. Doors open fairly nice and wide, not a full 90 degrees. We don't get any sunshades in the back windows. We don't really get much in the way of luxuries back here, but you get a little storage here, and you get simply a cup holder opening down below because of the speakers for the Bose sound system and all of that. You can see here we get fairly nice load floor in here, or seating position, but because we do have all-wheel drive as an option, we do get a center tunnel. I'll point out we do have lower latch points marked by buttons here. I'll do a full install of Tucker's child safety seat in our family video. These are perforated, but they are not ventilated back here. And I showed you when we were in the hatch. I'll show the recline, but this is how you actually recline or fold the seats flat. Let's go ahead and climb in behind myself. And you can see, just because of the shape, the slenderness of these seats, I've got plenty of room behind myself. I'm actually sitting up a little bit more than I was back there, so it's easier to get in and out back here. All around, very nice back seat in this one. No mat pocket on the back of the driver's seat, but we do get hard plastic seat back, so you can tell Tucker's kind of been kicking this one over here. We do get a mesh net on the back of the passenger seat. We also get 2 AC vents back here. That's something new. 2 USB ports down here, and a little bit of storage, although all of this is hard plastic. It's not rubberized, so it'll probably rattle around on you. We do get a fold-down center armrest that doesn't collide with a typical child seat, with a couple cup holders in here. No pass-through there, but I'll go ahead and show you. Headroom back here is fairly good, although I am much closer to the ceiling, but there is a nice little cutout here. But I can tell you, just, you know, leaning my head sideways, I do touch the ceiling fairly easily back here. It is still a subcompact SUV, I do believe is the classification of this one. And go ahead and show you, reach over my shoulder here and recline. That gives me a little bit more room, but again, it's just nice, comfortable, and what you would expect from a $35,000, $36,000 loaded subcompact crossover. That's enough inside and outside. Let's get behind the steering wheel and see how this thing drives on some of my favorite driving roads. Putting this one in drive and setting off, I noted, maybe not on camera, but while we were driving around in South Carolina, a little bit of a tinny metallic sound that sounded a little hollow in the models that we were driving there. But having spent a week in this one, I'm going to go ahead and say none of that exists here in this model. It is very well built, very solid, very quiet, very compliant. I have got no complaints with the overall build quality in this one. It has been a pleasure to drive over the week that we've had it, but I'm gonna do a quick acceleration in this one really quickly, fully on the brake, and let's go! $60. Fun, quick little vehicle, more than enough power. Again, 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. Slight detune from the previous generation. Again, carrying around a little more weight than before, and also tuned a little bit for more economical performance than before. So if you're wondering where those 5 ponies went, there you go. Otherwise, made it to that 8-speed automatic in sport mode, which gives you quicker acceleration, shift points, things like that. It's good. It's gonna be a more than capable vehicle to get you out on the highway, get you around traffic that may be moving a little too slow. But I did want to test this one on my favorite driving roads here in East Texas. I will note, one of the added benefits of all-wheel drive, in addition to extra traction back at the back wheels, is an independent rear suspension. For some reason, that is only available on all-wheel drive models, and I get perhaps the complexity of sending power back there. They changed up the axle situation from a simpler unit in front-wheel drive models, but yes, you get 4-wheel independent suspension only in all-wheel drive models, so that is absolutely a benefit with going with all-wheel drive over front-wheel drive. I can say we have not tested an all-wheel drive, a front-wheel drive model as of yet, but I can tell you the ride here in this one, it is what you would expect from a subcompact SUV, and by that I mean you get some road noise, you get a little harshness in extreme rough situations, but for the most part, normal commuting, this is a perfectly fun, competent, compliant vehicle that is not going to upset anyone. As I am on my favorite driving roads, no, I'm not in the N model, which does not exist yet, though Hyundai may have told us, wait, and we'll see if a full N model comes to go with that inline. But in this limited all-wheel drive, I can say this is a fun little vehicle to drive and to pilot. It will put a smile on your face, not only walking up to it with its happy design in this bright, happy color, but even back behind the wheel, you will have some fun piloting this around, maneuvering around, and driving it about. Again, those Kumho Majesty Solus tires on this highly textured pavement are a little on the noisy side. We don't have a lot of noise isolation in the wheel wells or anything like that. I did mention you could see that bright paint job if you looked ever so easily in behind the wheels in those wheel wells. So we don't get a lot of sound deadening material in this. And that definitely comes through as we get out here on the textured pavement, but this by far is nowhere near the worst vehicle that I've brought out here for road noise. I do believe those honors go to the Toyota GR86 / Subaru BRZ. That thing was very loud on these roads and almost was unbearable in really rough textured road situations like I'm on here. But otherwise, this is a fun vehicle. It is front wheel drive biased, so those front wheels are doing most of the work, but there is a little screen here that I can put the center display on that shows me exactly where power is going with that HTRAC all-wheel drive system. Again, it is fun, it is peppy, it is more than enough for what most buyers in the subcompact SUV segment are truly looking for. Bumps around corners don't upset this. It's just good. And as we were talking about some Subaru products, I've brought up a couple times in this video the Subaru Crosstrek, and I have to bring it up once more because we do get a proper 8-speed automatic transmission in this versus the Subaru's Lineartronic CVT. I just feel like this is a better all-around engine powertrain combination. Not only do we have more power than that Crosstrek, but you get proper gears in this one. And we do have plastic paddles on the back of the steering wheel, though I've not really found myself using them. Even though I drive a 6-speed manual on the daily, something about using paddles doesn't quite compute in my brain. And I just let the tuning from the engineers go to work as I pilot this down some fun, twisty back roads. All the way around, this is a fun car. You will not be upset if you spend your money on this if you're looking for a fun, comfortable, semi-luxurious and affordable compact crossover. Though I will say, for the price of this vehicle, you can get another fun vehicle that we've tested here on the channel with a proper 6-speed manual transmission and all-wheel drive, and the Toyota GR Corolla, if you go with the base model and if you can actually find one that's sicker. So if you're truly looking for driving fun at the $35,000, $36,000 price point and you've got a good Toyota dealer in town, you might cross shop a GR Corolla, but otherwise this is everything you would expect from a compact crossover, and I'm very happy to recommend this to anyone in the market for something of this size and of this nature. If you want to see more from us, you can hit that subscribe button down below, ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video drops. You can also find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, behind the wheel of this tennis ball yellow Hyundai Kona limited all-wheel drive. Until next time, gearheads. Bye. Okay. Steering in it is not too heavy, not too light, communicates very well, gives you a little bit of feedback. It's good. A little loose on center.